you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out. 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 I can help you out.
Let me tell you a little bit about reverse speech. Some of you probably already know, but I'm going to go over for those first timers. God made our brain in two hemispheres, and God made consciousness in at least two directions, possibly even more that we just don't know about yet. So, one direction shows up in our forward speech as our free will, each direction, where we are free to lie or tell the truth. And the other direction is our involuntary or unconscious direction that's similar to how we have other involuntary systems in our body that we don't have to think about, like our heart beating. So that is the side of our consciousness that God made that shows up in speech in the reverse direction. So we can only tell the truth from this side of our consciousness, in the reverse side, the involuntary side. So we don't have a choice on that side because it's unconscious. So it always tells the truth. We actually pick it up and can hear our reverse speech on a subtle level. And it's the reverse speech that makes things ring true or false to us based on how well we are tuned into it. So we start developing it at about 4 months of age, and we start learning it from our parents as an unconscious, involuntary, biological human system. And it always comments on our forward speech. Well, most of the time it does. Okay. So our reverse speech is from our subconscious. It comes from our subconscious, from our collective conscious, and from our higher consciousness. That comes from the same hardwired for truth side of us as our dreams and our body language comes from. And I have a video here of reverse speech in children, and I'll just play a couple of those right now for y'all. There's going to be a little 4-month-old on there, and then so I might stop to talk about a couple of these. Okay, now here's a little 4-month-old baby. and he's going to say hello.
Whoa.
Did you hear him? He said it twice.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
Wow, that's insane.
That is insane.
This is a 9-month-old child that's next. And so this little toddler is reaching for the tape recorder and says, "What's that?" in her reverse speech. Okay, so let's listen to that one.
Wow.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, that was forward and backward, back to back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, now this
I
one.
can see the difference. Yeah.
This one is one. David Oates has twin girls that are all grown. Okay, so she reaches out to her father, David, for help in picking up a cup.
Mhm.
Yeah.
David, help
Wow.
me. Yep.
I literally have goosebumps. This is so bizarre.
It is.
Oh my gosh, that is so
Yeah.
bizarre.
Right. So we had 4 months, 9 months, and 14 months.
Right. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And now I would like to skip ahead to this little girl is disabled, and she can only vocalize in her forward speech. She's not able to speak. But and this works for anyone who can vocalize in their forward speech. Like when David had me on his show one time, he did a show on Alzheimer's patients, and there a lot of them, are not able to talk anymore, but they're able to vocalize. And you just can't tell what they're saying, but their reversals are very clear. And this reversal is not real clear, but it is precious. This is a moving example of a handicapped child who has been nonverbal since birth. Mommy, love you.
There it is.
That's forward and backward.
Wow.
Okay, now this
Man, yeah, that is just I'm just dumbfounded by the way
I'm
this
speechless.
you can hear it backwards what they're really saying. That is fascinating.
we
It
learned
is.
we learned reverse speech first at about 4
Yeah.
months old, because that involuntary subconscious system, those all come in first. Okay, now this one is pretty funny. He's got a dirty diaper, and his dad asked him, get your diaper, come get your diaper changed or something like that, and he's like, help me out. So let's play this one.
Then I got a diaper for you. Yeah.
Okay, and that's David's
That's
side.
amazing.
Okay, so that was reverse speech in children, and then this right here, we're gonna talk about this other weird stuff. I have a front row seat to this freak show that's been going on. I'm gonna talk a lot about that. So
All
let's
right,
see.
no problem.
So the CIA has the theory of reverse speech in their reading room because they have studied it. They seem to be very intimidated by the truth coming from our reverse speech, and they harass many reverse speech professionals who are very good at pulling RS from our shared consciousness and interpreting it. So David goes over that in books that he's written. He, as soon as Dick Cheney became aware of reverse speech, David started getting harassed, and his office was set on fire, and he ended up moving back to Australia. So it was pretty bad. And then, so anyway, I believe that David Oates' son, David is the man who discovered reverse speech over 30 years ago, and the man who started RS with David, named Greg Albrecht. I believe both of them were killed for this. Then in my family, we are actually on the globalist Stasi human intelligence exploitation and depopulation kill list. So we are hit with EMF. It just said our internet connection is unstable when I said that, by the way.
Really?
Oh, wow.
That doesn't surprise me.
Okay, so we're hit with EMF weapons 24/7, 365. So it would be really great if we could get the correct information out to the world about reverse speech before that side of who we are through our reverse speech gets completely extinguished by the darkness dominating our planet currently. So if you guys could, supporting reverse speech is really important, especially at this time, because it's got a lot to say. So thank you so much for researching and posting about this side of us that if most people knew about could restore our planet to balance, to the balance that our creator had in mind for us. Our reverse speech is a direct check against secrecy and deception. And those are the very two things that darkness must have in order to thrive. So this is almost like a living Bible inside of us is what I think of it as, because I equate truth with God. So anyway, thank you for helping to get this truth out to the world. And please do pray for RS personnel who are pulling it out and translating it to help bring us like all closer to the truth and to God. And I am currently a certified reverse speech analyst. And then our site is ourstillsmallvoice.com.
I just want to thank and welcome back to Beyond the Strange, Miss Tiffany Fontenot. Thank you so much again for being on the show tonight, Tiffany.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're kidding. It's a pleasure. And I'm so glad we were able to finally do this show tonight. We just, thank you.
You're so welcome. Well, yeah, it's hard because I'm disabled. I was a classroom teacher and I was disabled by these EMF weapons. It's non-consensual human experimentation is what we're looking at here, and depopulation at the same time. People making money off of killing people. It's a thing. Hi guys, it's Tiffany Fontenot, your friendly reverse speech analyst here, and I just have some information to share with you all. I recently put up a new RSA on ourstillsmallvoice.com, our website. Y'all know Tony Rodriguez. He believes that he's in the secret space program. There's stuff happening to him and stuff happening to a ton of people around the world where they believe they're in a secret space program. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my findings. The reason that I decided to do all of this in the first place is because my friend Darmot Kelly is he finally finished his book after 4 years. So we're going to go over, because I did it as a surprise to him, because first he interviewed Tony, and Tony is in Dermot's book, and I am in Dermot's book. So he interviewed Tony first, and so what I did was I did reverse speech analysis on their conversation about Dermot's book. So we're going to be covering all of that. So I wanted to show you guys first, when you scroll down toward the bottom of any or of the current pages in our website, so underneath the conclusion after the bottom, you will see our recent projects I put in there. So that's one I'm working on. And then you'll see our social media accounts. Okay. So this is at ourstillsmallvoice.com. So our social media accounts for Our Still Small Voice, and they're all, MeWe, Gab. Now, some of these we don't use but we'll expand into those. Y'all know there's a lot of censorship going on. So the one that I post a lot in right now is Telegram. So that's t.me/our still small voice. Then click the join button, and then you're in like Flynn. All right, so let's start going over this. And this is Dermot Kelly's new book, Perception or Truth. That's what it looks like. It's kind of squinched up there, but that's what it looks like. And then here's our Telegram right here. I put it also at the top here. So if you scroll down, and right here on our website are also some other social media places that we have. So our Telegram, our YouTube, our blog, and then there's what is reverse speech. So a lot of people tell me that they would like to have handy something that explains what reverse speech is. Well, this is it right here. Go to ourstillsmallvoice.com, and then it's just a little ways down. It's right here. So this is a post I made from my Facebook page about what reverse speech is, and it has a little video and everything if you'd like to share that with people. Okay, so my friend Dermot Kelly's work in his new book, Perception or Truth, gets his experiences and those of others to the public in ways both perception and truth about those experiences. It's a very important book, in my opinion, and includes a chapter on targeting and reverse speech from me, Tiffany Fontenot. He kindly included reverse speech in his last book as well, called Weird. So I'd like to thank Dermot for championing truth and working hard to better discern the truth. So now we need the truth more than ever, and I equate truth with God. So Dermot's book features chapters where he asked us questions, and the responders he chose to be in his book, Perception or Truth, wrote out answers for their chapter to the questions that Dermot asked us. So Tony Rodriguez is the respondent for Chapter 8. Now, Tony is trying to make sense of experiences that he's had where he believes he was inducted into the secret space program. So I took a look at some of Tony's and Dermot's RS to see if it could help pull the curtain back on some of what may really be going on behind the scenes in their experiences and in other connected reverse speech. So I encourage people to learn about these experiences and how they are really being produced and used regarding humanity, because I'm not sure, the crafty people we're involved with here in this nutball transhumanist cult that is global and whose hub is in Israel. They like to use shams, and that comes up a lot in reverse speech. So that means you show people something and you describe it as something when it is actually something else. So keep that in mind, because we're going to be coming back to that. Okay, so now here's where Dermot's book can be purchased. Here's the link for it. And then here is Dermot. And this is the source that I used. And then I also used Dr. Sala's interview that he did. He did a four or five part, I can't remember, interview with Tony and at Mount Shasta. And I actually was there with some friends. And man, I was being targeted heavy, so heavy back then. At that point, it was so not fun. It's still not fun, and I still get hit 24/7, but it was way worse back then. Anyway, so And at one point, Tony was standing right next to me, but I didn't know who he was. So that was interesting. I found out about him after we got home at some point. So his interview, his first interview, is right here on my website. So we're just going to watch the very beginning of this where I got the reversals from. I only did 4 total, but we're going to look at the 4 that I found, and they are typical of all the other reversals. I mean, they just line right up with everything else that I'm finding. And what I'm finding is you've got humanity and God on this side, and then you have transhumanism and not God over here. And they love to they know that they can't get to their dark utopia and tell us straight up what they're doing, because everybody will say, no, we're not doing that. So they're very crafty about it. And I'm not sure that even all of their people know the whole story. So we're going to see if we can pull the curtain back on this. And I'm just going to report to you what reverse speech is saying. And I'm going to, because I'm going to send this, video to both Dermot and Tony, and they can, view it and place it however they like. But I would love to open up a dialogue and get more information and feedback about what they think after they've kind of taken all of this in. So anyway, here's their part of their interview that I got some reverse speech on.
Hello everyone, my name's Dermot Kelly and I reside in Australia, and I've written a book called Perception or Truth, and today I'd like to introduce a whistleblower called Tony Rodriguez from the United States, and we're going to talk on the chapter The Secret Space Program from my book Perception or Truth. There you go. Okay, welcome Tony. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. It's a Friday for me, Dermot. I haven't seen you it's been a couple years now. We made it through 2020 together. It's great news, and it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're coming along with the book. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Look, last time we spoke, which was in Melbourne actually, and we did meet at one of the Star Family conferences, which was absolutely awesome, and it's a beautiful Star family that we have. What I found fascinating with your story is that most people in the general population don't even believe in UFOs or ETs or whatever, yet here we are both working in warehouses and we've got one hell of a story.
It's true. There are so many levels that it's hard for me to judge when I get into conversations with people about it, at what level they're at. Some people, and I think most people believe in extraterrestrial life nowadays. It's not the same as it was even 20 years ago, because now they've discovered so many exoplanets and a lot of people are kind of in the know, but so many people are afraid to admit it because they don't know if it's still not cool or not. But now, because of so much evidence that has surfaced with people, not only myself, but there have been dozens of others. And I've worked literally with thousands of people that have contacted me with similar experiences, similar memories. But dozens of others have come forward and said the same thing, same things, or along the lines of things that I've said from different directions that are very validating. There are things that are valid. So I know that it's a tall tail to swallow. It's a big pill to swallow, and it's a huge leap. You know what I mean? The cliff to believe what I'm telling you is not a small jump. It's a huge leap. It's a tall cliff to jump off of to believe what I've claimed. But
Absolutely.
And even for myself, but every time I find something, I find a way. I found things that I've remembered on Earth and during that time, and things in space that NASA's been able to find, even the picture behind me of Ceres, things that I've looked for to, because it would be a lot easier on me if I could disprove it as well. So if I found something to research that I remembered from my time. So I got memories back and I go and research it. And what's happened is quite the opposite, is that out of little circumstantial things and even some big things, huge points, every time I think about it and then go and follow up and research, have a third party research it, it checks out and supports my account. And it's almost a little saddening because I could go on about my way if I was blatantly proved wrong, but I've only been supported. The things that I've dug up have only proved my case.
Okay, so let's stop there, and you guys can watch the rest if you want. And there are a couple more, a couple of reversals that are farther down in the interview, but we'll have to just keep trucking here, and you guys can go back and watch that if you like. So here's the first one. So here's Darmet and Tony, and so right here where Tony says, "Hey, I'm good. It's a Friday." Okay, so he says, "Green Alf has littered Maya."
Welcome, Tony. How are you today?
Hey, I'm good. It's a Friday for me, Dermot. I haven't seen you it's been a couple years now. We made it through 2020 together. It's great news. And it's good to see you again. I'm glad you're coming along with the book.
Okay, so connected to it being Friday for Tony, likely meaning Tony is feeling good and ready to talk about Dermot's book, is Tony's reversal that indicates that connected to the chapter he wrote in Dermot's book is an AI that's connected to both Green and Maya. Now, Maya means illusion. Okay, so the Maya part of this, the illusion part, looks to be what I'm finding from our shared consciousness, is a push toward psyoping humanity to install both AI into humans and hooking humans into a false reality or an artificial reality. It's going to be, it's a preview to the Matrix is what we're looking at here, is what it's looking like. Okay, it is parasitic. Okay, just like the Matrix, it's parasitic. They're fed off of like batteries. Okay, where humans are literally fed off of. And it's looking more and more to have been a preview for us. The Matrix is. So now the green part looks to be what is described nicely below, and I'll show you that in just a second. I'm also finding a huge plot already playing out for a technocracy where humans are being culled down, making way for upgradable, neuro-enslaved humans 2.0, where robots and AI will dominate humanity. Okay, I don't think they're going to get what they want, but I think that's what they have been working for across this network. Okay, so in addition, RS has indicated that the AI making all this possible has its global hub in Israel. And I think that's why the medical tyranny is dominating Israelis at this time, and why it's so bad compared to everywhere else. Okay, because the hub for that AI is right there in Israel, and it's programming humans to do its bidding. Okay, so the green part of this is the green tyranny of the climate industrial complex. So what I did, this is from the Heritage Foundation. So this man wrote a book, and he tells you all about that here. Okay, so there are lots of things coming together to create this disgusting utopia that this AI is rolling out as part of its plan to dominate humanity, and it recruits humans, and humans do what they're told. It is just unbelievable. Okay, so here's some more information about Israel concerning that. That's Brendan O'Connell, his work. Okay, so reverse speech indicating these things happening is cram-packed into my Biden family reverse speech analysis, which you can find at ourstillsmallvoice.com. So it features, I'm just going to give you a rundown of what it features in it. Okay, so it features Obama reversal on programming humans using a Stasi network. and the Rothschilds wishing a war against infidels. It features Rothschild's apparent belief that politics exists to bring humans to the scum, which appears to be this evil AI. It features Queen Elizabeth taking her coronation oath, revealing a death merchant syndicate that hatches fees. It features Sophia the robot working with a mob, mapping humans to call them down, and where both the RS of Tony Robbins and Sophia the robot are bringing up Huawei, connected to poisoning humans. Okay, it also features Joe Biden looking to be being used as an AI parasite host, where the AI gets its nourishment via child rape and a bunch of other like satanic ritual abuse type stuff. Okay, and much more. Gates is showing up as an AI host in reverse speech, as well as other famous people that you know. You are also being highly distracted away from the information that I'm giving you, okay, and that other whistleblowers are giving you. There are people being tortured like me to try and get this information to you guys and out to the world. Okay, so we would really appreciate it if you would, I mean, right in the middle of trying to make this video, I'm competing with Oprah Winfrey and Harry and what's her name? Poor Meghan. Okay, guys, you know, those people are going to be part of this. They are torturing and killing people all over the world. Okay, so all of this attention that has been directed on Oprah Winfrey and poor little Meghan and Harry, I'm sorry, I can't feel too sorry for them, considered what they've all been involved in. Okay, so if you want to find out the real scoop, you need to come to people who are experiencing this and researching and trying to really get to the bottom of it. Those folks are just going to distract you away from what's real. Okay, so and here's the link for Joe Biden's family RSA that I did. All right, here's you another one. Okay, how well do you know Bill Gates? A man that you are putting foreign fluids into your body for. He wants depopulation and a technocracy. I suggest people get to know him before they take their next vaccine. Okay, so I put this here, and this is James Corbett did a great job on covering who Bill Gates is. Okay, and of course, Facebook is tag teaming with this network across the planet. So is, Twitter, Google, they're all in bed together with this agenda. Okay. In my humble opinion, based on my experience and what is coming out in reverse speech. Okay, so and here's more. How else are we being influenced to walk into this grand deception? Well, right here, art is being used as a gateway to that satanic AI, artificial reality, fantasy land. Okay, so, and you guys can check that out if you like. It's got art in it from the Podestas and lots of other stuff. Okay, so now I recommend that everybody watch this interview because it's got the backstory that you really need to watch this video. So Beyond the Strange reverse speech show that I did with Beyond the Strange with Dave Cruz and Russ Bailey, and on February 22nd, 2021. Okay, so there that one is. Here is another reverse speech show that I did with Louisa of the Goldfish Report, with even more information that links with all of this stuff that we're going to cover here. Okay, so it's really good to get that under your belt too. All of this information is lining up with Tony's and Dermot's reverse speech as well. Okay, so it's all weaving into a fabric. And it is not what everybody thinks it is about. I'm not finding any benevolent ETs, guys. It is all part of this transhuman agenda. And it's transhuman. It's not ET. I have found 0 ETs. Now, what they are doing is they're selling us what reverse speech is calling aliens. So an alien is a body, a GMO body. It could be a human body or a bastardized biomass of some sort body. You know, it might have nano in it and cyborg parts and, you know, robot, that kind of thing. But a body that is interfaced with AI. Okay. And they're hooked wirelessly to the internet. That science has already been done. They've already controlled mice through a maze from thousands of miles away remotely. Okay. They are using people's DNA and magnetically tagging them to the Internet of Things, which is soon to be the quantum Internet of Things. That's when we're going to be close to being right in that artificial reality that is we're lost and we're in the matrix and everybody is still gone to sleep and being used as a battery. Okay. So, but Shirley MacLaine, her reverse speech, and Larry King's are no exception. Same thing. So how does the scam work? Well, these are the results that I'm getting. You can watch this video too. It's only 30 minutes. And it features Shirley MacLaine and Larry King, but same type of reverse speech coming out on UFOs. Okay, and this is what we're looking at. I mean, it looks to be quite literal. It might be mixed reality for a little while, but I think pretty soon it would all be like this. Is what reverse speech that I'm finding is pointing to. So let's see how exactly. Okay, so here's the second one. So Tony, his reversal is talking about memories. So he's talking about memories in his forward speech, and inhabiting. It says that leads me to believe that I was inhabiting a separate body that he got and then came back. Okay, so let's take a look at that. The reversal is add meat to Arca-Leave off her bus, and you'd imagine it so well that we will produce you a 0. Okay, add meat to Arca-Leave off her bus, and you'd imagine it so well that we will produce you a 0. Okay, so this is saying that imagination is being used so well that there's no proof at all. Okay, or there's nothing left. And 0 in reverse speech also indicates there's no there's no credit being given to it. Okay, so connected. Oh, let me play that for you first, and then we'll look at what it means.
I didn't have the memories of the 20 years. I had my memories back. It's the recovery of the memories that leads me to believe that I was inhabiting a separate body and I came back.
Okay. All right. So what does that mean? Connected to memories that are causing Tony to believe he was inhabiting a separate body and then came back is more detail in his RS being added so he can better understand this. So there was detail added in an arc, possibly a story arc, connected to leaving, and an agenda connected to his imagining that is done so well that there is no trace left of what really happened. Okay, this imagining seems to be a component that may be connected to hallucinogenic tech, that may be connected to the sentient world simulation. I'll show you how in a minute. So the word imagine implies not real in his reverse speech. Okay. So in reverse speech, our reality is respected so much so that it even calls out mental disorders of people stuck in fantasy for whatever reason as lying. It makes a clear distinction between what is real and what is fantasy. Okay, so there is a physical reality that God made. There's a natural matrix that we exist in. These clowns are trying to paper over that because it's parasitic. This is a parasitic AI. Okay. Okay, so, and also what entices people to assist that thing is this. Clearly, there's money and power to be made on this planet by criminals engaging in energy siphoning and harvesting directly from humans connected to schemes for depopulation and control. Okay, but they're all walking right into this, is what it's looking like. Okay, my own look at this with all the reverse speech pulled out of our shared consciousness to date is leaning toward the very real sentient world simulation to the Matrix movie, AI, artificial reality, and the movie Avatar. Star Trek, too, a lot of science fiction. It's allegory for what they're really into and trying to get us to accept. So the predatory parasitic AI that I found that has its hub in Israel is likely attacking humanity. Both it and human hosts it has taken over are working toward making it a permanent home. It literally is feeding on humans through the weaponized grid that it and its recruited humans have created already. So it wants humans to be still so that it can more easily feed. Okay, and what it does for them is it produces for them adventures like in the Matrix, complete with traumatic and sexual and MK Ultra type experiences that assist it to be able to get the type of energy it wants out of humans, as well as to implant itself better into a particular compartment within the mind, as its human helpers are using the human DNA to magnetically tag us and place us on the Internet of Things, soon to be the quantum Internet of Things, where we will be totally lost and inside the matrix. Okay, so I keep finding reverse speech where it is talking about MK Ultra. So in reverse speech, the house is the mind. It keeps talking about a room inside the house that MK is hooking into. Okay, so it hooks into your mind there, and then it hooks into the physical by getting your DNA and magnetically tagging you and sticking you, hanging you on the internet without your knowledge or consent. So you have little sheepies that are still asleep to this, and they are so sleepy and not awake to this because they're already being hooked on the internet, and their programming and signals are coming in, and that the EMF that they use from this grid hits the body as if it's playing a piano. It's like reflexology. Okay, so it can hit you in a number of ways and produce a result that it hopes that you will accept as your own and act upon. Okay, now if you know all their tricks and you can see what's being produced as artificial, then I mean that helps you to disengage and do something else, because you can tell that it's artificial. Go, we're not doing that. So anyway, so Tony mentions Google Earth matching up to his experiences in Dermot's chat with him. But Google Earth was likely wired up to the system long ago, and it may be a component of the simulation that his reverse speech is referring to. So guys, right now we have a situation where the public knows people are able to game on video consoles all over the world. They're able to connect with each other and play these videos, right? Okay. What it looks like is happening to Tony is that they're doing this experimentation on people all over the planet. And it's the same thing, except they're using what looks to be memory and the sentient world simulation. Okay. And I'll explain that a little more, but in just a minute. Okay. So, and apparently there's more than one of them, because there's the Army has one, and there's one coming through Purdue University. And there may be ones that we don't know about, you know, but they are likely hooked to Google Earth. So, and these are going to be ones that you don't have, you're not consciously aware. It's going to be more like exactly what Tony is describing. You're using imagination hooked up with a bunch of other people in sort of an artificial reality, and then you get finished with it, and that's fed back to you as a memory. Okay, is what it's looking like. Now, I may not be getting exactly all the details, but I'm going to show you. Let's see. I'm going to show you here in just a minute. I should have put it first, but let's just go with it here. So the sentient world simulation and this AI parasitic use of humans for batteries is what it looks to be. What looks to be happening. So now Google got part of its startup from NSA and CIA. Okay, so it's likely that Google Earth will start stretching out throughout our whole solar system, even, I mean, and beyond at some point. So, and there's no telling how far that's already gotten in black projects that are running. Okay, so, and here's a sham. So a sham is shown. It's actually something else being looked at, such as the COVID actually looking to be a fight against a predatory parasitic AI whose hub is in Israel. So COVID is something real, but people think it's a virus instead of what's really all behind it. And okay, then Trump has a very clear reversal indicating the fight against COVID is actually a predatory AI being fought that hijacks humans. Okay, so and I play that and a bunch more in that with real world examples in that interview that I showed you on Beyond the Strange above. It's a very good interview. I've watched that, definitely. Okay, so reverse speech is also indicating that across the board that it is a parasite that prepares and ingests meals and uses a strange fee hatching system to dominate the population, involving human matrilineal lines and a money from suffering global scamming transhuman syndicate that's declared an undeclared war on humanity. Now, they didn't just get here overnight. This has been methodically rolled out through social engineering to get where they want to go. Okay. They're like, okay, how do we get to the next step? You know, it's all planned out and everybody has their roles and they're all rolling it out. Okay. So anyway, the declaration of war comes across very clearly, repeatedly in the reverse speech of its human hosts. I've gotten a real clear one, actually, you know, around the whole time all of this started, from Ellen DeGeneres and in her reverse speech, and what is her, Portia de Rossi, their reverse speech. Okay, Tony may actually be a victim, though, is what I'm saying, of non-consensual experimentation for artificial reality connected to the AI attack on humanity, from what all I've found so far, that seems to also link with what his reverse speech is describing. Okay, so this is going to be just like the Matrix. You have a bunch of people imagining together in a matrix where you're in the video game, you know. Okay, here's an article about Google's true origin, partly lying in research grants from CIA and NSA mass surveillance. Okay, that's part of this, how they're goose stepping toward this now. Okay, also, Hollywood plays a role in this because they are telling us what they're gonna do. So they've showed it to us over and over and over again as predictive programming, so that we'll just accept it without resistance, without too much resistance when it comes, because we'll be very familiar with what it is, even though we're not cognizantly, consciously aware of what they're doing. Okay, so Tiffany Fitzhenry, of course, her tweet was removed from Twitter. But she said, wouldn't it be crazy if Secretary of State John Kerry met with studio execs in Hollywood to talk about how to manufacture effective state-sponsored propaganda to perpetuate covert elite agendas and then tweet about it? Oh, wait, he did, right? He did, ... Okay, so here's her tweet that was removed. Here's the link that you can share. It's on archive.org. Thank you, archive.org. Okay, and here's the tweet. And then here is John Kerry's tweet, which of course has not been removed. Okay, so he says, great convo with studio execs in LA. Good to hear their perspectives and ideas of how to counter the Daesh narrative. Okay, so propaganda. Okay, they're going to try to sell this to us while they're showing us their plans. Okay, so now what is the sentient world simulation? Okay, this part is very important. This exists now. Okay, so it's not surprising that data in the information age can be extremely valuable, even a source of power. Now picture a parallel virtual world that collects information on our virtual identities in real time and tracks our behavior and is smart enough to interpret this data to simulate a virtual you on its own. Okay, this is exactly the concept of the sentient world simulation. Okay, this was proposed in a paper by a few researchers in 2006, which has since largely flown under the radar. I wonder why. So the SWS is actually a continuously running, continually updated mirror model of the real world in parallel on a computer, designed to predict and evaluate future events and courses of action. Okay, but is that all it's doing? Is that all are they experimenting on it to get, I mean, why did they create these really in the first place? What else are they aiding? Okay, so let's see. So individuals, leaders, organizations, and institutions are simulated according to real data. The geography of a society is modeled at various levels, including city, province, country, region, and world in terms of political, military, economic, social, information, and infrastructure nodes. Okay, so here's a link for you to, there's a whole article in there. And then here is a really good piece that James Corbett did. It's only about 12 minutes and it's on the sentient world simulation. So I suggest everybody scroll down and watch that too. Lots of good information in this RSA. Another, some more articles. Here's the paper, the Purdue PDF paper on the sentient world simulation. Okay, so have we been shown in allegory what the plan has been all along? There's a clear public interest to know how humans are being hooked in to gain their consent via allegory and humor in the media, to include movies, as we're going to watch here in just a minute. So below the fair use picture is a scene from Star Trek, the movie Insurrection, that aligns with what our reverse speech indicates is actually happening. Okay, so this one is one that's similar to the Matrix, okay, on Star Trek. This one is the part of what we're going to watch. Okay, so this is Insurrection, Star Trek Insurrection, the part about the hollow ship. Okay, and we're going to start about here.
It is a holographic projection. Incomplete, I might add.
What you're seeing is a computer-driven image created by photons and force fields.
I know what a hologram is, Captain. The question is, why would anyone want to create one of our village?
Data, if you were following the children and discovered this ship,
It is conceivable I was shot to protect the secret of its existence.
why would they duplicate this village except to deceive the Baku?
Deceive us.
To move you off this planet. You go to sleep one night in the village, wake up the next morning on this flying holodeck, transported en masse. Within a few days, you're relocated on a similar planet without ever realizing it.
Why would the Federation or the Sona wish to move the Baku?
I don't know.
Computer, end program. Decloak the vessel. Don't panic!
I've been shot at. Thrown into the lake out of a ship that's come to abduct us. What's there to panic about?
In the event of a water landing, I have been designed to serve as a flotation device.
Okay. All right. Is non-consensual human experimentation. Is it being done where they're remotely plugging humans into a sentient world simulation somewhere? What keeps coming up in reverse speech is transhumanism, non-consensual human experimentation, torture, MK Ultra, tying one part of the mind into the AI, hypnosis, programming, and bioweapons, and the Internet of Things that they're tying people to. So what would happen if the NWO criminal syndicate members and other psychopaths had access to these resources? Because they do. So the tech being used to do this is being described in our reverse speech. So UFOs are being described only as dark. Even people who are describing these experiences as benevolent, when you look at their reverse speech, it's dark. Okay? I just can't stress that enough. I have found absolutely no, I mean, this syndicate is programming these things. Okay, so I haven't found any that are not dark. I have found an AI that they have created that may have been created to conquer the horror, but I haven't found any that's non-parasitic. Okay, so let's put it that way. Okay. So both David Wilcock and I are being waved off the topic of ETs altogether, meaning that there is nothing but transhuman great deception to enslave humanity there. Okay, that's all there is. Okay, so I know that good people meet around the world to express what's happening to them and what's happening on our planet that is very mysterious in order to seek answers about what on earth might be going on. But let's take a look at the reverse speech to fully pull back the curtain here. Okay. So Dermot's reverse speech indicates the very term star family is being used, it puts together that they're right there in the name is sabotage in the direction of the grand deception. Okay. The grand deception would get 0 traction if reverse speech were common knowledge in our world, because it would help us balance our very limited forward consciousness and forward conscious knowledge with our vast access to what is true according to the truth only side of our consciousness. Okay. So when you put those two together, you are able to know what the truth is and make proper decisions accordingly. So, like, if everybody knew what these little disgusting people were doing all along, there's no way anybody would have gone along with it, but we just didn't know. Okay, so I just can't stress that enough. Okay, moving on. In reverse speech, the word fart equates to sabotage. Okay, and that is within the very name star family. Okay, they are using the term star family to entrap. Okay, it was made for a reason. Okay, so let's take a look at Dermot's reverse speech, and the reversal is unifarts. Okay, that's star family. Unifarts moving in one direction for sabotage. Okay, moving into the grand deception. So unifarts wolf it aid this in it. Members soar here, ill despises you. Sis the fork, unifarts. Sear the note, see him kill you. And I've gotten that so many times. This depopulation, oh my gosh, in C60, what's his name? Ken Schwartz. Okay, it's in he says, yes, they kill us. Sophia the robot, she says, all beef kill ya. That means we're going to kill off the herd. Okay. Now, are they successful in this? I don't think they are from the reverse speech that I'm getting. But however long it takes for people to wake up, there may be more cost incurred from the time from now until when we win. So what I am trying to do, and what everybody should be trying to do, is get people awakened and see what's going on and figure out, okay, with my skill set, my people who I know, my connections, how can I help and help properly, help efficiently and effectively? How can I help? And then get in there, roll up your sleeves and do it. Okay, so we need those mom and pops back. We need proper benevolent leadership. We need, and proper benevolent leadership is going to be wise, and they're going to have to know how these folks operate. Okay, and know how they put scams together and how they build them. It's very important. Okay, so now let's learn that. Okay, because this is what I'm finding. All right.
Look, last time we spoke, which was in Melbourne actually, and we did meet at one of the Star Family conferences, which was absolutely awesome, and it's a beautiful Star Family that we have.
Okay, so that is not good. Okay, so one sabotages is likely to mean there are many psyops in one direction of the grand deception. Likely that of a transhuman parasitic system that is aiding the predator connected to these conferences. Okay, so the members are connected to wounds and ill connected to those who despise humans. Cyst is likely a nod to parasitic worms from all the reverse speech that I've found so far, that and they're going to be connected to the weaponized grid, likely to Morgellons. It's really gross. It's a parasite. Okay, so okay, from all the reverse speech that I've gathered so far, they exist connected to stabbing or attacks connected to the transhuman agenda to sear or burn up the unconscious communication trying to warn you of the human call. Okay, so all right, so I think that it is very important to tell people about these experiences, but it's equally as important to know how they're running these scams and what these experiences really are, where they're coming from. So here's Avatar, the trailer. I'll let you guys explore that if you like. Now this right here, more allegory for us. Star Trek: The Next Generation. So in this one, it's similar disclosure in Star Trek. An entire life is lived as a short false memory. And what does he get hit with? He gets hit with a beam. These are beam weapons, EMF beam weapons, pulse beam weapons. They just vibrate and shake everything. So the word shake comes through quite a bit when it's talking about targeting in reverse speech, and pulses, and when they hit your head, like I got hit so hard one time, it makes you see colors when you get hit particularly hard. So and I got hit really hard one time and saw a big giant blue light right in front of me. Well, that's because they had just gave me a huge smackdown with an EMF weapon right to my head. So, okay, so these are bioweapons, electronic and chemical and biological. All right, so he lives 40 years of a lifetime within a few minutes or few days. I'm not sure how long it took him to go through all of that. Okay, but we've seen a lot of that kind of thing in science fiction. Okay, now let's look at Tony's reverse speech again. This is a very long one, but I wanted to pull out all of the context that I could so that I could try and make more sense of this. Now, if I do more and more of Tony's reverse speech, we'll probably be able to put it together pretty nicely what exactly is going on. But this so I'm just presenting my findings so far. And this is what it's looking like so far. It's looking like a bunch of people being experimented on for the coming Matrix, unfortunately.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. Combined with a form of fusion, the machines had found all the energy they would ever need. There are fields here, endless fields, where human beings are no longer born. We are grown. For the longest time, I wouldn't believe it. And then I saw the fields with my own eyes. Watched them liquefy the dead so they could be fed intravenously to the living. And standing there, facing the pure, horrifying precision, I came to realize the obviousness of the truth. What is the Matrix? Control. The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, so he says, her snail roams around to snatch me forward. The DNA primal cut, snatchy memory in the rape her wolves, in offer for a sin. Beam we miss. So this is what he's missing. He's missing a beam, just like Picard was talking about. And these are beaming weapons. We're missing a beam in his lie tech. We'll put up his lie tech near X line op. Heard law he love Allah. You're the mock-up ad. They're hiring in it. Okay. Now I'm going to go over what that means and we'll listen to it. So connected to technologies in play and being mortally injured, because he talks about being mortally injured that he remembers, are instruments to build death that move to capture the direction of DNA in order to harness it, connected to memory, and forcing harm onto our defenses connected to causing harm. Using beaming tech connected to deception, these technologies are being used to move an op forward that looks to be affecting matrilineal lineage connected to faking something, using Islamic law, and using people they hire to deceive you. And you likely means not just to Tony, but to humanity. Okay, so our DNA also looks to be being used in connection with Nano to magnetically tag us, to hook us wirely to the Internet of Things that is planned to be the quantum Internet of Things soon if it's not shut down. Okay, so, and guys, free energy is coming across as a transhuman scam. Okay, it says it chokes life, so it feeds off of life, it chokes it out. And it says it changes who you're subservient to. So that means it takes you farther away from God, okay, and closer to that is not God. Changes who you're subservient to, okay, because God is who you're subservient to, and it's changing that. I've had one from Tom Hanks also that says CERN is connected to the announcement of a spiritual reversal. Okay, so they're using these technologies to do this all over the planet. And who's telling them all this? The AI parasite. And there's no telling how long that thing's been around. But every time, I think that it probably waxes and wanes and gains in power, and, you know, according to how humans are acting as a whole and what we're falling for. Okay, so we've got to stop being gullible. We've got to stop being gullible about this stuff. So, and it's happening across the board, across the world. So what I'm saying is, let's look at the reverse speech and see what it's describing so that we can have a clue about what's really going on here. Because these people are looking for answers, you know? And so I'm glad that we're finally finding some here. And I'd like to delve farther down into it to get the full story. But I think that this is what is actually going on so far. So we'll see what Tony has to say, and maybe we'll look some more at it. Okay, so let's listen to this one.
It makes sense that technologically you could do that. And then not only that, but on a lot of the other military technology, medical technology was seemingly based around cloning. So repairing, there were many times, well, not many, but there were a few times that I was mortally injured.
Okay. So, and then let me see. Okay. Now he's talking about memory here. So he's been talking about DNA, memory, imagination, imagining things. Well, Randy Kramer is a friend of mine also, and I did a reverse speech analysis on just a one. I just got one from him, but it addresses memory also, and it indicates the same type of stuff going on here. Now, Randy, I think he had the 20 and back also, but it's looking like they're messing with memory. Now I don't have, I don't have space memories, or I mean I have had things that I know have been artificial, where dreams are concerned. I have actually seen, these UFOs. They sent one right over the house. Um, I've had all that stuff, but I don't have memories of being on a moon or anything. So what they're doing to me, they're doing a lot of things to a lot of people. They're just testing a lot of stuff, and they're um, doing non-consensual human experimentation to try to get to their utopia. Okay, so this is what it is, how it's looking so far. So and so I kind of fall more, even though these weapons look to be used on all of us, um, whether you're a space, because they're MKing those people too. I mean, they just use, the first thing they do is let's start MKing them if they are inducted into any ridiculous transhuman parasitic AI tech program to get them farther on down the line with their money from suffering scams. The first thing they do is MK you. So and it looks like I was born into this, like a lot of other people are finding that they were too. And it's just it's a big giant human animal farm is what it's looking like, for a disgusting, ridiculous parasitic system that humans have fallen into. I mean, and it's an entrapment network to get these humans to work for it on its behalf. And like I said, there's an indication that Evelyn de Rothschild, his reverse speech was indicating that they believe that politics exists to bring humans to the scum and to get them to fall in line with what they want, rather than what's supposed to be going on down here. So, but they're using memory. Mine addresses that too. My reverse speech said that a mob was sent and memory was shredded. So I may have, this may be, they're using EMF on my family. My grandmother has already been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, late onset Alzheimer's. I wonder how many people's grandparents who are diagnosed with that, I wonder how many of those people are actually being hit with EMF weapons, because that is one thing that can happen, is that it can cause Alzheimer's. So I don't know exactly what they're shredding. It might be repressed memories. I don't know, but they're doing all kinds of stuff with memory. They're trying to manipulate to get to their end goal. And I'm so thankful for reverse speech, because it just cuts through all the bullshit, and that's what I love. Cut through it. What is going on, and let's fix it. Okay, Governor Jim Justice. Whether people are good guys or bad guys on this, their reverse speech is describing the same thing. Governor Jim Justice's reverse speech brings up memory. And I'll let you check that out. I've put his below also. But he's trying to sell transhumanism. He's trying to sell transhumanism in his state. He's trying to sell them brain chips from Rockefeller Neuroscience Institute. So, it is just unbelievable. So I'll let you check those out. And then I did a reverse speech analysis of cosmic disclosure. It was there since the very first episode. It's not something that just developed, because we looked at that too. UFOs, among other dark things, are a child trafficking front. Okay, I have found zero Okay, 0 benevolent ETs. Even where I should find them, I'm not finding them because the people they're like so excited about seeing a UFO. So I'm like, oh, okay, I should see congruent reverse speech here. Let me look at this one. Everyone that I've looked at where they've been excited to see a UFO, their reverse speech is saying, slam on those brakes, dude. You know, don't go near it. It's not a good thing. Okay, so I don't know how else I can explain that. I have found 0. I've looked at so much of this, guys. So much. And it's not just me either, because David Oates and Greg Albrecht, it's describing little girls and little boys where UFOs are concerned. And for crying out loud, I mean, look, here's Flight of the Navigator. It shows you right there. This AI keeps showing up alongside pedophilia. Okay. And transgender. It's switching people's gender. Okay. That is going to come. Now, Catherine Austin Fitts talks about that. She thinks that they are trying to do that to pull humanity off and away from sex, because they're trying to literally change us into robots, and they don't really have a sex, is what she thinks. And I put her, I really like her second interview that I put down below here, because she speaks with James Corbett, but see, she runs in these circles, so she is closer to these people than we are. And she was like, she was the assistant secretary of housing of HUD under Shrub the First. So, you know, she's kind of knows these people, and she's up in finance. So she feels more positive now than she did. I think that there has been a big awakening going on. Okay. And so that's good. And so what I'm saying is, everybody, don't wait on one man to solve your problems. Okay. Look at the giant truth map unfolding. Look at your God-given talents and your connections to other humans. What can you put together, you know, that will be good, solid help, that will actually be helpful? Okay. So Corey Good's reverse speech, you know, he says the main message for the ETs, now they try to get, they're selling these aliens, which reverse speech is acknowledging aliens. So they're experimenting around with bodies and cyborgs, and it's really gross. Really gross. You should see that artwork up at the top, the Podestas. Okay, that's what that's likely to be stuff that they're cranking out, you know. And it concerns, I mean, that transhumanist stuff they're cranking out. There's children involved with each piece of artwork. Okay, it's just I can hardly stand to look at that stuff. Okay. Then here's the Star Trek Enterprise stratagem. I'll let you look at that, but this is another how they psyop people. Okay. To, you know, make them off balance so that they can slowly take you over. Okay. And then here's the conclusion. So once we realize what this actually is and where it's trying to lead us, we can finally begin in earnest to work together to find a proper balance for tech in our lives, firmly built on a foundation of truth, of how it is really operating, clean up the mess caused by following something harmful that we didn't understand, shut it down, and heal from what this AI and the humans following it have caused to humanity, so that we can begin a proper balanced trajectory into the future based in who we really are and firmly planted in our natural God-made reality. Okay, not their hijacked parasitic one in quantum. I have a reversal that I just found from Bob Lazar talking about the technology and the UFOs. He said there is no way that we made these systems. And then in his reverse speech, he starts talking about Tesla's sin. Okay, so I'm not sure that Tesla has a positive side either. I haven't, if there is, I haven't found it yet. Okay. Quantum seems like it's burning spiritual energy, and clearly whatever they were referring to as free energy is a scam. It's a transhuman scam. It's going to be the same parasitic medium. This parasite, it can't apparently just live on electronics. It eats organic material, and you notice that our military, who knows who that came from. I mean, you've got these traitors in network all over the planet. And remember, I had like the head of DoD biotech followed me and then blocked me a couple days later, and I hadn't said a word to him. When I did the reverse speech on that, it came back saying that was a rape it notice. So the head of DoD, who after I sent that information to General Flynn, and when the next time I checked, he was no longer the DoD biotech head. Okay, his name is Alexander Titus. You can find him on YouTube. Go take a look at him. He's on my list of people to take a look at and see his reverse speech, because I definitely want to know what he's into. Okay, that there's no way that I'm being targeted for non-consensual experimentation. And the head of the U.S. Department of Defense Biotech Division followed me and then blocked me when I had not said a word to him and I didn't know who he was. Okay? There's something wrong there. Okay. So, like reverse speech is getting some attention from higher places, but they're not telling anybody that they're looking at it. Okay. I am finding in reverse speech that people are actually, their authentic expression is being stepped on and something else is squawking through. Okay. I have found that in Judge Sullivan's speech. Okay. The Judge Sullivan that presided over General Flynn's case. And when I put my findings there, there is a guy who liked it, Daniel something. He's the head of cybersecurity in the Greater Bern, Switzerland area of Bern, Switzerland. Okay, so this is getting attention, but I need people to share it. I mean, if reverse speech were common knowledge and everybody was looking at their own reverse speech and that of people in leadership positions, there is no way they could get away with doing any of this crap that they have done for God knows how long. Okay, so please talk about it. Please share it in whatever ways that you can. Please support reverse speech. We're going to have our business coming online pretty soon. We're going to have a store. We're going to have reverse speech products and services and just fun stuff to buy. And the more you're able to support reverse speech, the better this world is going to get, because people are going to be functioning more and more congruently. We just don't know, that we're trying to figure all this out, and reverse speech is that's what we were split apart from. That's our better half there that has all the good stuff. And we need the forward and reverse to function together in balance and flow in balance. And then everything else can just get better from there, guys. So, okay, here's Catherine Fitz's interview called The Injection Fraud. Okay. Also, I think that anybody that listens to this in the legal field, or we know that Monsanto was had a similar, and you see this AI, you can tell it leaves footprints. It left them through when those farmers were being attacked by Monsanto in the courts, and it was saying its disgusting GMO seeds were getting into farmers' fields, and then Monsanto, because the wind, would blow them into the fields, and then Monsanto would sue them for growing their seeds, using their seeds in their fields. Okay, but guess what those farmers did? Then they countersued Monsanto for contaminating their fields. Now that same thing is happening with biology. Bill Gates and his syndicate are going to try to start saying, well, we own you because you have our stuff in you. Our products are in you. So we own you. You're a product of the Microsoft Corporation. And what I'm saying is I am going to be suing for them crapping up my body. Okay. My natural God-made body is going to be what the lawsuits are going to turn. And I mean, I'm encouraging that for everybody. Everyone needs to start looking at that strategy in the courts, in my opinion. Okay, because that's exactly what those people have been doing. They have been contaminating our bodies with their disgusting transhuman crap. And then they want to use that as a basis for ownership so that they can indulge these infantile fantasies. I really can't believe it. Anders, what is his name? A neuroscience guy. He was talking about flying off to Rome to talk with some important person about cyborg Batman. I'm like, how old are these people? There is something wrong with these people. Okay. So, and I have reverse speech. I have, lots of documentation on all this stuff. But at some point, people need to say, okay, we've collected enough. Let's start taking some proper action here and getting it shut down. So everybody use what you got. Use your resources, use your talents and gifts and connections to each other. And let's get all of this shut down, please. And Tony, I would love to hear more from you about what you think about this presentation and, where you think it doesn't fit. So then I maybe can do more reverse speech and see what else is in there. Okay, so that we can get this figured out because I'm just tired of it. I'm ready to get it shut down. So let's look at it. Okay, you guys, love y'all. Have a good night. Bye-bye.